His clothes were bright, like a rainbow had spilt on them. My mum made a quilt of them, and I sewed a little guilt in them because they embarrassed me. They colourfully surpassed me, they unfashionably harassed me. At 10, I simply couldn't see any beauty in the rebellion that was wearing 50 shades of vermilion. But now, I see my jeans in those stripy jeans, the ones that have been cut at the seams and made into patchwork. And I see how the mismatch worked because somehow he wowed in them, made more than a shroud of them, and I wish that I'd been proud of them. But then again, I was 10. We buried him in tie-dye and then watched time fly by, and on that quilt I'd lie and grow fonder of those patterns. And I guess that's just what happens, because now the mismatched work of that stitched patchwork makes me so glad, because a different quilt made from different clothes would have meant a different dad. But since then, life has made a time machine, and it brought me to now, and there is a different Glean. It's sort of like then, but more touchscreen. And if my dad came back from the dead, hypothetically, I wonder pathetically, theoretically, he might not even fit in. Phones were then an accessory, not a necessity, and he wouldn't know the hype. He'd never heard of Skype or HD or On Demand. A decade has updated the land he knew. Who knew we could move so fast? And I feel like this middleman. I can almost see where it all began, but I'll soon be left behind. I genuinely thought Spotify was a face cream. I thought windows were what we used to daydream when clouds were just gases in the sky and not prefixed by I. And it's fine to move fast, but don't judge the past because it brought us here. It's the transportation that created this nation whose biggest fear is an empty hand, nothing to hold or rely on, no one to update or subtly spy on, with no one to tell. Except the man in the street, or her in the next seat, with a phone that's smarter than its owner. Maybe one day it'll own her and then loan her back to herself. But these people don't know you. They don't know about your patchwork dad or about that really quite strange dream you had. They don't know your birthplace or that you have no faith, that your birthday's in December or that you played online Scrabble in November with Gary. Who is Gary? By the way, I mean day to day, because he writes on your wall, but can you give him a call? Hypothetically, I digress theoretically and then wonder pathetically, if my dad heard all this, would it baffle him? Would it technologically unravel him? Or would he be an iDad on his new iPad, a man all in patchwork trying to make apps work? If he came back, there is so much I'd want to show him, a lot more than I can sew into this patchwork poem. Thank you. Thank you very much.